other news, the Dallas Cowboys. Every time I get my hopes up about this team being different, them turning the corner, them looking different, the defense is all over the place, they come back down to earth in a way that a meteor crashes to earth. Like just fast, and there's fire, and things just blow up and cause so much damage. That's exactly what it is. That's how it feels right now. The Dallas Cowboys are 11-5, and I can tell you there's not a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans that are happy right now. They're not happy with 11-5 record because they actually should be better than that. They should be possibly 13-3, at least 12-4. But what they did against Arizona on Sunday night, yeah, typical Cowboys. They come out, they look flat. Kyler Murray is doing what Kyler Murray does. He's running all over the place. He's connecting passes. He's escaping the pocket. He's just looking great. Great. You had A.J. Green beat Trayvon Diggs on a double move down the line. It was supposed to be a touchdown if the ball wasn't underthrown by Kyler. We have Dak Prescott having an uneven game. We have 𝐤𝐨𝐬 not being a factor on the ground. Pollard not being a factor on the ground either. Dak Prescott actually led the team in rushing with 20 yards. And the defense who has played well the last few weeks, they played well enough to win this game, but they had some situations where in the last part of the game, they couldn't get off the field. They couldn't stop them on third down to get the ball back. You had Greg the Leg Zuerlein missing kicks. He's been missing big kicks all year. You got Mike McCarthy looking like a deer in the headlights on the sidelines. Got outcoached by Cliff Kingsbury with a situation in the third quarter where Matt Prater is lined up out in the slot. He's like, oh my goodness, they're going to score a touchdown. I got to call a timeout. That's what it is right now in Cowboys land. It's a disaster. It feels like this team is 5-11. That's how it feels. Because when they play against teams that are below 500, they look like world beaters. 56-14. They beat up on the Falcons. They beat up on all these teams, and everybody, Dak Prescott's so good. But when they play against teams that are actually good, Dak Prescott struggles. Dak Prescott has bad passes. He misfires. He's overthrowing guys. He's underthrowing guys. He's fumbling the football. That's the problem that I have when people defend Dak Prescott. Great guy, but he's not an elite quarterback. Great human being, not an elite quarterback. Great humanitarian, not an elite quarterback. When you keep making the same mistakes game after game and year after year, and you're not making the adjustments to get better, you are not an elite quarterback. The Dallas Cowboys come down, score a touchdown. They have the momentum now. They stop the Cardinals on third down. They trot back on the field, and what does Dak Prescott do? He fumbles the football. So now the momentum goes back to the Cardinals. Now, granted, you can say that the defense should have got a stop and they should have tried to get them off the field on that last drive for the Cardinals. But should they even have been there had it not been for the fumble? See, we have to call a spade here. When you make mistakes as a quarterback and big mistakes like that, it's very hard for your team to overcome those. You see in Cleveland, they can't overcome Baker's poor play and his poor reads and his poor interceptions. They can't overcome that. No matter how good the running game is, no matter how elite that defensive line is, no matter how good the defense has been playing all year, they can't overcome a bad quarterback. And I'm not saying that Dak is bad, but he has bad moments to the point where you're scratching your head like, how? This guy's making $75 million, more than any other quarterback in the league this year. How is he still making those mistakes? Those are year 2 mistakes. That's my problem with him. The other problem that I have with the Dallas Cowboys is the play calling. They don't take any shots downfield. I watch the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm just mad. I'm jealous. Because Joe Burrow is just throwing the ball all over the place. He's just closing his eyes and throwing it deep. Jamar Chase is catching it. You have T. Higgins. You have Tyler Boyd. All of these guys are just catching deep balls, deep passes. We have CeeDee Lamb. We have Amari Cooper. We had Gallup before he tore his ACL. Heal up, Gallup. That was unfortunate. Hopefully you can be able to be back. But we have these weapons who we have some deep threats. No, don't take any shots downfield. It's all Dak and dump. It's all just nonsensical plays. It's all predictable. That's the problem with this Dallas Cowboys team when they go against good teams, is that they're predictable, so the good teams can recognize that. A bad team can't recognize that. That's why they're bad. Good teams understand what type of plays you're running. Good teams understand that, okay, this is the defense that we can be able to use to just quell this little vanilla play that they're running here. There's no creativity at all. When you have a guy like CeeDee Lamb, I look at CeeDee Lamb in a way that I look at Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is a utility player. You can be able to just line him up in the backfield. You can line him up in the slot. You can screen pass for him. There's so many different ways you can use Deebo Samuel. You have CeeDee Lamb here that can do the same thing. Why not utilize that type of talent? You don't have to just rush with Ezekiel Elliott or Tony Pollard. You have other guys that can be able to do it. Why not use some creativity? There is no creativity right now. And to be honest with you, here's a take for you. I would not be mad if Kellen Moore took the Jaguars' job. I'm just being honest. I wouldn't be mad because let him go. I want somebody that's going to be able to get the most out of this team offensively. I don't think Kellen Moore is doing that with the receivers. Take shots downfield. If you're not taking shots downfield, you're not giving your team a chance to actually put up big points and have big plays. Dink and dump is not going to work. You put pressure on your offensive line. You put pressure on your running game. You put pressure on your defense to be perfect. You put pressure on your special teams to be perfect. You need to put them in situations where they can be able to excel and exceed and have success. Take shots downfield. CeeDee Lamb went over 1,000 yards receiving. But you see guys like Justin Jefferson. You see guys like Jamar Chase. You see guys like, even Amon-Ra St. Brown. All of these guys, they use them in different ways. CeeDee Lamb needs to be used that way as well. Amari Cooper is not even going to reach 1,000 yards. That's going to be the first time in 3 seasons. Being with the Dallas Cowboys, he's not going to reach 1,000 yards. When everybody said before the season, Dallas has a potential to have 3,000-yard receivers on their team. Yet we haven't seen that. We've seen an offense that's been sputtering, and guess why? Not only is the play calling to blame, but number 4 is to blame as well. Everybody knows that Zeke is not the same player. You can't blame him anymore. The guy who's making the big bucks is the guy that needs to be shouldering most of the blame as to why this offense does not get downfield, as to why this offense looks very stagnant. The part that bothered me is that he came out after the Washington game. Oh, y'all called it a slump. I didn't call it a slump. No. It's a slump, bruh. It's a slump. You look bad. Just because you can be able to show off against a bad team in the first half doesn't mean that you can show off against a team like Arizona who actually has a good defense. You look pedestrian. And if people are looking at the numbers, right, if they're playing Monday morning quarterback and looking at, he's played great. Passer rating. Numbers lie. Your eyes don't. Numbers lie all the time. Because if that's the case, Kirk Cousins may be a Hall of Fame quarterback. Puts up good numbers every year, doesn't he? The eyes tell you differently in regards to clutch moments. He's not quite there. That's the problem. So I don't need to hear any excuses out of Cowboys Nation today. I need to know the truth. How are we going to be able to fix this? Can we be able to right the ship? I don't really think so, because we had a potential to go from the number 2 seed. Now we're the number 4 or 5 seed, and we have to play either the Rams or the Cardinals in the first round. Does anybody who's a Cowboys fan feel confident that we can beat the Cardinals or the Rams in the first round, even if we are at home? Because Jerry World is really not an advantage. It's not Arrowhead. It's not, it's not Seattle. It's not New England. It's not any of these places that you actually have an advantage. And shout out to my boy 𝐤𝐸𝐤𝐞. Hope you get well. He had written out, playoff odds and, the strength of schedule and all the quality wins that certain teams have had during the season, wins and losses. The Cowboys, 11-5, they have 3 quality wins. Beat the Chargers, beat the Eagles, beat the Patriots. They have 4 bad losses, right? Big losses to big teams, I would say. Bucks, Chiefs, Raiders, Cardinals. With 3 quality wins, are you actually a great team? I don't know if you can say that. You got the Packers with 4. So Titans with 6, Chiefs with 6. Those are high quality wins, which means that those particular teams can stand the test of time in the playoffs if something happens. If they play a good team, they can be able to hold their own. The Cowboys don't look like they can do that. So if that's the case, they're one and done in the playoffs. And what we're dealing with next season is Dak Prescott's cap hit goes up. 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤, his contract is still there. The year after that, Dak Prescott's cap hit goes up again. So this is the year to actually win the Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys. But it looks farther and farther away from actually happening. It doesn't look like a reality anymore because they are not beating the best teams in the NFL. And if you're not beating the best teams in the NFL, then you're just going to be one of those pretender teams in the playoffs, and it doesn't really matter.